844-778-7132 for 2 free tickets to a class in your area and receive our Professional Insiders Kit with lessons from our top instructors just for attending. That's 844-778-7132. 844-778-7132 or visit otaclass.com.
Get the best sleep of your life. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, Jim Talamonte.
Kennedy outbound traffic is stop and go from Harlem to 190 where there's a multi-vehicle wreck. We're looking at 30 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Inbound 24 minutes. Scattered delays starting at Nagel. About Edens, got about a 4 or 5 minute delay now from Cicero to the junction. The outbound Edens is fine. Inbound Eisenhower, it's 35 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 30. Northbound I-55 is tight Weber to Veterans Parkway. And the Stevenson is running 38 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 18 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishoport, 17. Tollways are light, no problems to report on I-80 or in northwest Indiana. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, morning flurries possible, otherwise clouds through the midday and some afternoon freezing drizzle. High 34. 32 right now at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and we'd like to check in with our friends at Truth in Accounting, where I'm a board member, by the way, in the interest of full disclosure.
I'm the sergeant at arms.
Are
for
you?
Truth in Accounting.
Is that right? I was unaware of this.
Watch out for you guys.
Yeah. I'd like to check in because Truth in Accounting does great analytical work at the local level, too. We talk so much about the federal government, some about the state government, not nearly enough about local government. People don't pay nearly enough attention to their local government. You see it in just even their participation in local elections. But that's where a lot of the action is, and certainly a lot of where your bills come from, and a lot of, where a lot of your quality of life depends. So Truth in Accounting's 2020 report, they look at 75 cities around the country and do a little bit of analyzing and grouping for us so we can figure out which local units of government are doing it right and which local units of government, like Chicago, are doing it wrong. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Sheila Weinberg, who is the founder and CEO of Truth in Accounting. Sheila, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Dan and Amy.
So the interesting thing about the 75 cities you looked at, just taking them in aggregate for a moment, is that fully 3/4 of them you report do not have enough money to pay their bills.
Yeah, and that's despite the balanced budget requirements. We found all the cities, including
Balanced
Chicago,
budget.
have a balanced budget
Hilarious.
requirement. But that all depends on how you count.
Right.
Evidently, these cities are not good at counting.
So one of the things that they don't like to count are things like pension obligations.
Yeah, what employees earn the pension obligations, but it's kind of like your credit card. You go ahead and you charge your groceries, and then you can pay that bill off as you go along, or you can defer it into the future. You can do monthly payments. Well, the city of Chicago, instead of including the compensation costs as they're incurring them, they defer those payments into the future. So therefore, their budgets really aren't balanced. We think the first step the mayor could do is let's just go ahead and be honest with the public, because you're telling them that the budget's balanced. Therefore, people are assuming that you're not going into debt. But the city is $34 billion in the hole, even though these budgets have theoretically been balanced.
Well, is the city making monthly payments? Or are they kicking that
Well,
down the road too?
again, we can equivocate it to the credit card, where you charge things, and then they send you a statement. They say your minimum payment is X, say $1,000 a month. Well, what if you only paid $200 a month instead of the $1,000 a month? You would just continue to get into debt, and that's what the city is doing. They're only paying 20% of what the city's actuaries say they should pay into these plans.
And so to take us top level again, tell us the sort of the top 5 and bottom 5 cities, who's doing it right, and who's doing it wrong the worst.
Well, the best 5 to start with is Irvine, California. There are cities that we mentioned. There's 63 cities that need money to pay their bills, but there are cities that don't need money. Irvine, California actually has a taxpayer, I know this is a weird word in Chicago, surplus.
Surplus.
A true surplus of $4,100 per taxpayer. Washington, D.C., Charlotte, Fresno, and Plano, Texas. And this reminds me of I went to Utah to present the Truth in Accounting Award to their budget director, because they do so well in doing their budget. And I asked her, I said, what are you guys doing right that other governments are doing wrong? And she facetiously said, well, we do something here that is very unusual. We only promise the benefits and services that we can afford. So these cities are doing that. On the flip side, New York is our worst city, with $63,100, then Chicago at $37,100 per taxpayer, then Honolulu, Philadelphia, and New Orleans.
I think people. I just going to go back. One of the top 5 cities doing it right, operating surpluses. Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that's shocking to me.
What happened there?
No, it was shocking to me also.
Happy for 'em.
I think that they get federal funds to pay their benefits, and they're so they get so much money from the feds that they're able to pay their bills.
But still, I mean, normally you get so much money from another unit of government, you spend through that just like you do taxpayer money. I mean, it doesn't really, or direct taxpayer money really doesn't matter to reckless governments. I mean, take Illinois and Chicago, for example. We get money from the feds, too, but that doesn't seem to put any sort of governor on our spending. So it's just I guess it's interesting to know. Maybe so the Washington, D.C., the local government could teach a lesson to the federal government that supports it. That's so interesting.
It's very peculiar, because their pension plans are theoretically overfunded, which they, the value of their assets are actually, more than their projected benefits. But that all could change with the market.
Speaking of things that could change the market, so Illinois, pulling out from Chicago and just talking about Illinois generally. So we're looking at 129,000 Illinois public pensioners will see expected payouts of more than $1 million during their retirement. And of course, it's not just the payouts that's a problem; it's how little they paid in. So you just can't make it work when you're paying in $140,000 and you're getting $2 million back, which is sort of standard issue for at the city level, say for fire and police and CPS teachers. So with respect to that, it always strikes me with these reports. Does anybody ever go in and say, and maybe the good examples could speak to this, say, we'd love to write everybody a blank check and love to confer multi-million-dollar pensions with very little pay-ins, but here's what we anticipate in terms of revenue, and so this is where our personal costs are going to have to tap out, including the benefits associated with your employment. And we're going to have to right-size things that we can no longer finance. Are those conversations going on anywhere in the country? We know they're not happening in Illinois, but maybe in some of these other cities that are doing it right?
Yeah, no, that is going on. Actually, there's an example in Chicago, I hate to say, where Rahm Emanuel did look at the retiree health care benefits and said, we just can't afford those, and just slowly started phasing those out. And so the city has a very, quote, little retiree health care benefits compared to their pension benefits. And New York City actually has, more than $100 billion of retiree health care benefits that they've promised and not funded, where the city of Chicago only has $684 million. So, that is one area that we could be even in worse shape than we are now, and other cities are contemplating funding, getting rid of those or at least reducing those retiree health care benefits. In Illinois, they attempted to do that when they did pension reform. They said, hold it, okay, they went ahead and said, well, you can keep your pensions, but we're going to get rid of your retiree health care benefits. But unfortunately, the Illinois Supreme Court said, no, those retiree health care benefits are just as guaranteed as the pension benefits. So, we're not able to get rid of those as much as we'd like to.
And just to make a little bit of a private sector comparison, as you look at these books for these local units of government, I mean, is there any case in these cities that have spent beyond their means, which is, as I said, 3/4 of them, where if they were the fiduciaries of a privately held company, there wouldn't be people going to jail?
No, especially Illinois. They only have Chicago. They only have a funding ratio of 23%, i.e., they've promised every dollar they've promised. They've only put 23 cents away. The IRS, that if you, in a corporation, if your funding ratio goes below 80%, they consider your plan endangered. If it goes below 65%, you have to enact a plan that contributes more or pays less benefits out. But that's not possible in Illinois. We could go on and on about the progressive income tax. They're opening up the Constitution to fix that. Let's go ahead and open up the Constitution to fix some of the structural problems that have gotten us into this mess, like the pensions, like the retiree health care, and like the balanced budget calculation that has put the state $225 billion in the hole while they were balancing the budget. Maybe the wording of the Constitution needs to be changed. So if you're going to open up the Constitution, let's fix some of the structural problems that got us into the mess.
She is Sheila Weinberg. She's the founder and CEO of Truth in Accounting. Their financial state of the city's 2020 report is out, and I will tweet it out at Dan Prof. You can pick it up there. Of course, Truth in Accounting's website as well, truthinaccounting.org. Sheila, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sorry for the bad news.
Yeah, well, we expected it.
Thanks. And excuse me, she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.